I'm good, man. We got some things moving. Obviously the last year has been a nice little hiatus. And it looks like we're finally going to be getting this fight moving forward. Like you said, a fight is never confirmed until we're actually inside of that octagon and
Right.
that bell rings, right? But obviously the first step is the UFC announcing it. But as far as me and my team, we have spoken to the UFC weekly over the last year or so. But now it looks like we got ourselves a date, we got ourselves an opponent, and seemingly a weight class a little bit above what we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I got a bunch of questions. So I'll start with the date, Mike. Is June 29th the date, and has that been agreed to?
As of right now, June 29th is what I am preparing for. Obviously, when it comes out of the horse's mouth, 50% of this fight, Conor and then myself, Conor coming out and saying that is the date. That's the date I'm preparing for. Obviously, we have spoken to the UFC, and that is the day I am preparing for. That is what we're looking forward to. So
So but no contract signed yet. But you're good for the 29th. He's good for the 29th, and that's what we assume is going to happen. But not yet signed.
yeah, and that's honestly how this sport moves along. Sometimes there's fights that are made and there's not contracts necessarily signed yet because it's
Right.
a gentleman's agreement. So yeah, we're good.
All right, now let's talk about the weight, Michael. You are a lightweight fighter. You are one of the best 155 pounders in the world. Connor says you guys are going to fight in what would be the middleweight division. Are you cool with that? And will you fight him at 185 pounds?
I would definitely fight him at 185 pounds. If you look at how the whole thing played out, I like to say Connor wouldn't want it to be at 155 because he wants everybody to believe that he's bigger than he actually is, right? He wants to. That's the aura of Connor, bigger than he actually is, to build this big mystique, right?
Yeah.
And it's tough for him to say 170 because if you remember, I was the guy who called him out at 170, so therefore I'm not the guy who does what I'm told. I'm the guy who got what I wanted, right? So just like the opening scene of The Ultimate Fighter, he walked in and said, "Have I told you what weight it's going to be?" Right? At 185, and that's when the "you'll do what you're told" type of deal narrative began. Right? So, man, I'm cool with whatever weight. The way I see it is, Connor and I are within a couple pounds of each other, so it
Yeah.
doesn't matter if we cut weight all the way down to 155, we fight at 170, or we fight at 185. We're the same size guys. I don't need to bulk up to 200 something pounds to get down to 185. It's just not how I would operate during this training camp. So I'm excited about it if it is 185.
I know he's packed on a lot of weight, but it seems to me, Mike, like if anything, that you would carry the size better than him and might be a little bit naturally bigger than him.
Yeah, no, I think I am naturally bigger than him. If you remember, I mean, he's a natural 145 pounder
Okay.
who started making his name fighting cherry picked 135 pounders. And I've carried this mass for the last 15 years and
Yeah.
fought at lightweight with it. Whereas he has gained weight. This was a question way before the 185 Ultimate Fighter you'll do as you're told thing got brought up, was that Connor has gained weight, gained muscle mass, gotten bigger. So we haven't seen how he was going to fare with that extra muscle mass and that extra size. I don't think he'll be able to move like the Connor of old. He won't be able to have the same reaction time and footwork and light on his feet at 170, let alone 185. So I think it benefits me. So wherever they want to do it, I'll do it. So I'm ready.
Would you then, Mike, go back down to 155? Not suggesting you'd stay at 185, but is it possible then you'd go down to 170, or do you see yourself eventually ending up back in the lightweight division?
Man, I still see myself as the guy who's going to eventually fight for the 155 lightweight title, whether it's Islam, whether it's Gaethje, whether it's Charles, whoever ends up with the title after I smash Connor. I will be working my way toward that. Now, with that being said, I like being 190 pounds where I am right now. Fighting at 170 would be really nice.
Yeah.
Fighting at 185 is basically just us not cutting any weight. But that's the thing that I think is missed with the fans, is they think, well, it's a weight class, so those guys must be bulking up. But really, we're just not cutting the weight down to a certain weight class. I will stay the same frame, the same stature, same muscle mass, continue to work on cardio, not eat cheeseburgers and pizza and ice cream all training camp. I'm going to eat the same. I'm just going to eat a little bit more and not be operating at a calorie deficit. So it'll be the best camp of my life, no matter what weight class it is.
Right. It'd probably be the best you ever felt going into the octagon and probably even while you're in there, right?
100%, man. Yeah, because going from 190 to 155, there's a little bit of muscle mass that you lose. There's a little bit of wear and tear on the body, the organs, and the dehydration, and just the constant fatigue for 12 weeks straight of taking your body from a certain point down to a certain point. So I'm prepared at whatever weight. I like the weight I'm sitting at right now to be able to cut down if I have to, or stay right where I'm at for the next 6 months. Either way, this is a fight that I've been looking forward to, no matter what weight class it's at. I've done nothing but envision knocking Conor out within the first 2 rounds for the last 13 months. So I'm ready to do it.
I want to make sure I don't get sued here, Mike. People obviously have speculated a lot about Conor's size and, hey, you know, could he possibly have been taking something? Do you have any concern about that, about getting in there, not knowing what he might have been doing the last 2-3 years since the broken leg?
Not really. I mean, I think everybody's on their own journey and everybody has their different ways that they would do things. Obviously, I've always looked at what you're alluding to as a crutch. If there was something that somebody was able to take while they weren't being drug tested compared to when they were, to me, that would be nothing but a mental hurdle to get over, because I would imagine if you're able to have that extra little bit of oomph, if you will, when you don't have it, how are you going to perform? How are you going to see yourself
Right.
mentally? Who's the guy that you see in the mirror, with it or without it? So, for me, that's not been something that I've thought about. I have wished him well in his recovery and whatever he had to do to recover, because what he did go through
Yeah.
was a pretty severely broken leg. So I wish him the best, and I want to see the best version of himself on fight night, June 29th. So, yeah, man, there's so many factors over the last 13 months about this whole thing, and the greatest comeback in sports history and my comeback and all that kind of stuff. So it's a fun one. So buckle up, buckle up, and pull your hat down tight, because we're about to have a fun 6 months.
Two quick ones for you. How relieved are you? I've got to imagine. I mean, not only do you want this fight, it's a big event, big payday, all that. You've got, I'm sure, everywhere you've gone for the last year and a half or so, you've had fans asking you about this fight, Mike. How relieved are you that it finally looks like, okay, we know it's going to happen, we know when it's going to happen, where, and all of that?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, definitely some relief, but it's not as much of a relief as people think. I mean, I think when you can create this chaos and this all these different questions, it was never really a question in my mind based upon my knowledge, if you will, and my talks with the UFC and my team's talks with the UFC. It's never been a question, so I haven't questioned it as much as people probably think I have. But it's still a nice relief. It's nice to say, okay, hey, June 29th, all right, we're going to do it. June 29th, Conor McGregor, 185 or not, whatever the weight class is, we're going to do it. And International Fight Week historically is always the biggest card of the year. Obviously, this year's a little bit different because you got UFC 300 in this year, but couldn't be happier with the stage. Couldn't be happier with getting this fight looking like it's getting shored up, and I'm ready to sign that contract and go out there and beat this dude up.
As you're imagining the fight play out, envisioning it, how does it go? Is it a Michael Chandler knocks out Conor McGregor?
I do, yeah. I don't think it's necessarily going to be too quick. I think Conor, as he always does, is going to come in very confident. I mean, that's the one thing people can say: Conor has lost a step, and Conor's not who he used to be, and Conor parties, and Conor all the different narratives. But never underestimate a man who has an unwavering belief in himself. Conor McGregor is a dangerous opponent, no matter what. For the rest of his life, he will be a dangerous man. So, I think Conor's going to hit me with some shots. I'm not going to go down. He's going to then start to feel the waters rising, and then we finish him in the second round, maybe third round. But I think I'm too much for him. I wear him down, make him second guess himself, similar to some of the other fights that we have seen, and then I finish him in the second round.